identifying corresponding and alternate angles. So this one is give a pair of alternate interior angles, a pair of corresponding angles, and a pair of alternate exterior angles. So with this one, we're focusing on these three situations when you have two lines and a transversal. So in this case, we don't have two parallel lines. If you notice, these two lines that are going from side to side look like eventually they would come together if we went far enough. So those are definitely not parallel. But parallel or not, we still call them alternate interior angles, corresponding angles, alternate exterior angles. So we've already dealt with one topic that was, we did write some notes on, called finding angle measures given two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So that's one video you can watch that has a few notes on it that walks you through some of these before this one. So if you notice over here, this is normally where I have my notepad, but what I did over here was I found this that gives you an example of quite a few of the situations that come up, especially when we have parallel lines and transversal. So over here, they're only equal or supplementary if we have parallel lines. So we're not terribly worried about this column right here. What we do want to be able to identify is where it happens. So if we have alternate interior angles, this shows you an example of how to find them. So alternate means they're on different sides of the transversal. So the transversal in this case is going like this on my diagram and actually in the example. So we have a left side and we have a right side. So that would be the alternate part of alternate interior angles. Interior means that the two lines in the example on this screen, they're not parallel, but in the example on the screen, they are. So doesn't matter. We have two lines. And for it to be interior, it has to be inside the lines here. So it just shows that this one is on the left side and it's in between the two parallel lines. This one is on the right side and it's in between. So we just kind of hop over the transversal here, but we're in between the lines. So those are called alternate interior angles. If the two lines are parallel, then yes, they are equal. If they're not parallel, then they don't have that equal relationship. They just have the name. All right, so alternate exterior angles. So again, alternate, same thing, means that we're jumping across the transversal. So in this case, we still have a transversal that looks like this. And we're going to jump across so that the one on the top is on the right side and the one on the bottom is on the left side. And this time they're exterior. So instead of being in between the lines, they're actually on the outsides of the lines. So that's what exterior means. So we have one on the outside here, or outside of the parallel lines, and it's on the right side of the transversal. And then we go all the way down to the bottom. We jump over to the left side of the transversal, and we're still on the outside. So they're all the way on the out. So alternate exterior, alternate interior. So hopefully they're nicely named so that you understand that. Corresponding angles, so that one's a little bit more difficult just because the name doesn't give it away right away. So corresponding angles means that they're in the same position for the parallel line and the transversal, or not just parallel line, the line in general. So if we look at this pink one here, it's on top of this line and it's on the right side of the transversal. If I drop down to the other line, then it's also on top of the line and it's also to the right of the transversal. So they're in the same position, meaning like I could take this one and it almost looks like I could slide it right down into the other one. So that's what corresponding angles are. They're angles that are in the same position in respect to both lines. All right, so we're going to go ahead and try this out. The other thing with this one is there are multiple answers for all of these. So one answer is not the only answer. It's just the one that we're going to put in. So first, we're going to look for alternate interior angle a pair of alternate exterior angles and a pair of corresponding angles. So alternate interior angles. So remember, alternate means different sizes of the transversal. Interior means in between the lines, not parallel in this case, but just the lines. So we want to go in between. So we know we have to grab one of these 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with 4. Why not? And then if I start with 4 here, it's inside I keep wanting to say parallel lines. It's inside the line. And I'm going to jump to the other side, also in between. So I'm on alternate sides here. I'm on the left side. Here I'm on the right side of this transversal. But 4 and 6 are in between those two lines. So that's interior. So I can say 4 and I can say 6. So I could have also chose 3 and 5. Either one would work. All right, alternate exterior angles. So I'm just gonna start, it has to be exterior. So if I'm looking at the lines, it has to be an angle that's outside of those lines. So I can choose 1 and 2 to start with, or I can choose 8 or 7. I'm gonna go ahead and start with 2, just because why not? So if I go with 2 here, this is on the right side of the transversal. It is outside of the lines. So I need to jump to the left side of the line. I need to go all the way until I'm outside of those two lines. So I need to keep going until I'm not in between them anymore. So I go to 8 here. So if I start with 2, I jump over to the left side, go all the way down. So I have 2 and I have 8. So I can do the same thing with 1. If I'm on the left side and I go to the right side and I go all the way down, then I land on 7. So it would be 1 and 7 in that case. All right, corresponding. Corresponding has quite a few options. So you can choose any angle you want here. It has a corresponding angle. So if I start with 1 here, I'm on top of the line and I'm on the left side of the transversal. So I just drop straight down until I come to the next line and I'm on top of the line and I'm to the right of the transversal. So we would have 1 and 5. Now, because they're not parallel lines, it doesn't quite look like I could take 1 and drop it right on top of 5. It does a little bit, but 5 looks a little bigger than 1 to me. So because they're not parallel, they're not actually congruent. We still call them corresponding angles in this situation. They just don't have the same relationship they would if those lines were parallel. All right, let's go ahead and check. Yay, we're good. Okay. So next one, so we have alternate exterior angles for this first one. So now here the two lines are going up and down and the transversal is going from side to side. That really doesn't change anything. Inside now is just straight up and down, so it's anything in between the lines. Outside would be all the way to the left or all the way to the right. And then for the transversal, instead of left and right, we just have top, bottom, or top. All right, so if we want alternate exterior angles, we know we need to start with the exterior, meaning we need to go all the way either to the left or the right. So if I go with 2 here, so this is exterior, and it's on the top of the transversal, so I know I want to drop to the bottom. I want to go all the way as far as I can. So I have 2, and I have 7. All right, alternate interior angles. So interior means that I want to go in between those two lines. So I can start with any of these 4 numbers. So this time I'll go ahead and start with 6. So if I have 6 and I want to go alternate, then I want to jump to the other side of the line and just go as far as I can on the inside. I don't want to jump out, so I want to stay inside the line. So I have 3. So 6 and 3. Corresponding angles, again, you can choose any angle you want. It has a corresponding position. So if we go with, let's go with 6 again for this one. So 6 is on the left side of the line, and it's on top of the transversal. So if I go to the next line, I want to slide over here. I want to make sure since this was on the left side of the line, I want to make sure I go to the left side of the line, and I want to stay on top of the transversal. So it would be 2 and 6. All right, let's go check, and yay, we only have one more of these. Okay, so corresponding angle, again, like I said, there's tons of these. You can choose any one you want. So let's go ahead and do 3. So 3, again, we have 2 lines that are going up and down, and we have a transversal that's going kind of from right to left. It's diagonal. So if I have 3, then I am on the left side of this line. So I'm on the left of the line, and I'm below the transversal. So I want to go to the other line, and I want to make sure I'm also to the left of the line, but I'm below the transversal. So left and below. So we just want to make sure that we can describe them in the same way in regards to the line that we're talking about. So one of the 2 lines, usually parallel, but in this case, again, they're not parallel, and the transversal. So if I'm talking about 3 and 1, I can say that they're both to the left of their line and below their transversal. Okay, alternate interior angles. So again, we want to go to inside the line, so we can choose any one of these 4 to start with. Let's go ahead and start with 3 again. So 3 is on the bottom of the transversal, and we know it's inside, so we want to jump to the top of the transversal, and we want to slide as far as we can go without leaving the inside. So we have 6. 3, we have 6. Again, they're alternate sides of the transversal. The transversal in this case is going left to right, and we also want them to be inside the lines. All right, now we want alternate exterior. So if the lines are going up and down, then that means exterior is all the way to the left or all the way to the right. So all the way to the left, we have 1 and 5. All the way to the right, we have 8 and 3. So let's go ahead and go with 8 on this one. So if we go 8, we're on the top of the transversal here. So I want to go to the bottom of the transversal, and I want to slide as far as I can. So there is my alternate exterior angle. So I have 8 and I have 1. All right, we're all done with that one.